Good morning, kids. It's Mr. Agee here, and I'd like to speak with you about your math test beginning today. So, first job is figuring out where you get your math test. So, just like usual, we're going to go in. This is the week 14 um, math and word study from Agee folder, and that's for our work this week, November 16th to November 20th. You'll click into this folder, you'll go into the math folder, you will go into Monday's work, and you'll click the Mod 2 Test Part 1. That's right. The test is 4 pages. I'm going to have you do 2 pages per day. So I would like to see everyone having submitted this part of the test by the end of the day today. I think you've got plenty of time to do it in your independent work time. So let's click in here and take a look at what you got to do. You're going to open the assignment with Kami and you're actually going to do the assignment in Kami. So I'd like to remind you that it should automatically save your work when you open the test in Kami. You might have to put in your password like I just did to actually get access to the assignment. I did not have to do that last night when I was going over this, so it's possible that it's going to ask you for your login credentials to make sure you can see the test. However, what you might notice is that we are going to be doing some rounding problems on the first page. Well, a rounding problem and another word problem. And then you've got some time problems again, and it has to do with estimating time. And that's the whole section here. So I want to go over what your answers might look like. And then when you finish here, you're going to click this turn in button and you're going to turn it in. Now, if you have to be interrupted, or if you get interrupted and you have to shut it down while you're in the middle of this, then you want to make sure that this auto save button is checked, because when you uncheck it like this, that means that it's not auto saved and you have to actually click save now. But if this button is checked for autosave, that means every little bit of work that you do is going to save in Kami. Okay, so just taking a look at these items, you've got a few to look at today. Paul is moving to Australia. The total weight of his 4 suitcases is shown on the scale to the right. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. You see his suitcases. You see the weight right here on a number line. Round the total weight to the nearest 100 kilograms. So this is just showing that you remember how to round to the nearest 100 using the rounding tool that we discussed for about 4 days earlier in this unit. So I'll draw a picture of what that rounding tool looks like, just to model for you what my expectation is. So I'm going to use this insert line tool, and I'm going to draw a straight up and down line like this. They give me plenty of space to do it like this. And my job now is going to be to mark the 100 that's above the weight on the scale. Try to get this line straight. Oh my goodness, that is not straight at all. Okay, and let's go back to this line tool here. Just go right over the top of that. There we go. There's the, I'm gonna actually label the top 100 and the 100 below. So I'm gonna be looking at this number here, and I'm gonna label the 100 below and the 100 above, and I'm also gonna label the midline. So I'm gonna be finding the midpoint. And if you can't remember doing this, go back in your workbook. We did this together, and we had 4 assignments on this. We had 2 assignments on rounding to the nearest 10 and 2 assignments on rounding to the nearest 100. All of those assignments, we used a tool that looked just like this, except it had an arrowhead on the top and an arrowhead on the bottom. You find the 100 that's lower, the 100 that's higher, the in-between mark, the middle point, and then you plot the the weight onto the line with a dot. Okay, so you'll basically be using the drawing tool to just click a dot. I would probably use like a 6 or an 8 here to click a dot on the line where where this number is, and label all of them. So your number line here should have 4 numbers written on it: the low 100, the midpoint, the high 100, and the dot on the line where your number goes. And then you have to say, what is the nearest 100? So you would round, you'd say 127 is, or rounds to, so you could use the text box here that says 127 rounds to, and then put your answer there, which is the nearest kilograms, nearest 100 kilograms. And that's what your answer should look like when you do this problem. Okay, moving on. The next one, Paul buys snacks for his flight. He compares cashews to yogurt raisins. The cashews weigh 205 grams and the yogurt raisins weigh 186 grams. What is the difference between the weight of the cashews and the yogurt raisins? Remember, when we talk about a difference, we're talking about the answer to a subtraction problem. So it's not asking you to do anything fancy, no drawings or anything. Now, if you want to, you could do a tape diagram. A tape diagram would illustrate this very well, because you could take the larger weight, make one tape, and the smaller weight, make a second smaller tape, and see that you're trying to find the difference between the lengths of the two tapes. Or you could just use the standard algorithm to calculate the problem. You could put an equation in there, but anything that you do that shows me how you got the difference between the weight of the cashews and the yogurt raisins would be acceptable. However, I don't want to just see an answer. I need to see some kind of explanation of how you got your answer. So if that's an equation, fine. If that's you showing me how to do the standard algorithm, fine. But the in-class students are going to be doing this paper pencil, and I'm going to be telling them that they need to show their work. And so I know it's a little bit different on Kami, but I want to see what you're thinking as well. So on this problem, it's not just put the answer. I want to see how you got the answer. Of course, as always, if you have any questions with this, you got to make sure you ask me. If you're struggling in any way, you've got to make sure you ask. You could either send a message on the messaging tool in Schoology, or you could bring your question to our live sessions each day. So at 10 o'clock, when we meet together for our synchronous math session at 10 o'clock, that would be a great time to say, hey, Mr. Agee, I've got a problem. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do on this question. Don't be afraid. I'm here to help. This is what my job is, and I know it's kind of it might be daunting to do it in front of your classmates, but that is what the expectation is. If you're having trouble, you need to let me know. Okay, number 3, the clock to the right. So now we're in telling time problems. The clock to the right shows what time it is now. Okay, so it gives you the minute hand, and it gives you the hour hand, and it also gives you a second hand. I'm going to recommend that you do something to show that, whoops, that's a little too thick there, to show that you're not going to be looking at the second hand at all here. So mark that out. You don't want to look at that. They're trying to throw you off with that second hand. So it doesn't ask you to write the exact time. What it asks you to do is to estimate the time to the nearest 10 minutes. So what I would do if I were you is I would open the text box feature. I would write the actual time first. Okay, so like this, the hour and the minute, and then rounds to, and then put the estimated time to the nearest 10 minutes. Okay, so basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking at this number here. So the first number is the hours, the second number is the minutes, and you're going to be using this number, the exact precise number, to round to the nearest 10. The hour is not going to change. The 10 is going to change to, it should have a 0 at the end because you're rounding to the nearest 10. And in the next one, it's a very similar problem, except they sure are trying to confuse you with all these hands right near each other. I will just remind you that when the minute hand is in the 50s, which this one is, it is not yet the next hour. It's almost the hour that the hour hand is pointing to, but it's not there yet. It's almost to that hour. So again, you're gonna do it. Your answer should look just like this one. Put the precise time here and rounds to the nearest 10 minutes. Okay, so you're gonna have a 10-minute below and a 10-minute above, and you're gonna decide which one is it, which one does it round to. And then in the end, it says use your answers from part A and B to estimate how long Paul has before his flight leaves. Okay, so um, it doesn't really give you the whole situation very well, but in this time it's saying, okay, this is what time it is right now for Paul, and this is what time Paul's plane leaves. That's what departure time means. And then it says, so based on this estimate that you created and the estimate of the time now, how much time does he have from the time now to the estimated to the estimated departure time? So how long does he have before his flight leaves? So you're looking at your two estimates, not the exact times, the estimates for how long his flight leaves. So your answer should be a friendly 10. It should end in 0. And it's a certain number of minutes. And that's your work for today. That's the test that you got to do. And I want you to do your best and take your time with it. And again, if you have any questions, bring them to our live session so that I can help you work through these problems. I can't give you the answers, but I can help you clear up any misconceptions that you might have if you can tell me how and why you're confused. All right, good luck and do your best. And during our live session, you will have prepared for this also by looking at the test with me and doing some items, practice items that are similar to this. Good luck and do your best. And I will see you again tomorrow.